My name is Cody Alexander, and I'm the union president for United Steelworkers Local 9548, which represents the 450 sisters and brothers who work for Tenaris Algoma Tubes in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. The date today is March 2nd, 2022. We're just doing a follow-up to our February 23rd video regarding the Ministry of Labor visit that we had. As of yesterday, our Joint Health and Safety Committee and union executive members met with the Ministry of Labor on a follow-up visit regarding the initial field visit report from February 23rd. We wanted to share that with everybody, just so everyone is fully aware of what the outcome was and which orders were issued. Now, just as a reminder, this is a result of a call that the union executive made to the Ministry of Labor requesting their assistance due to us discovering that the company has not finalized and they have delayed the pre-start review for the premium line. We discovered this last September when our co-chair for the Joint Health Safety Committee began inquiring as to why he was not involved in it. Part of the pre-start reviews involves the Joint Health and Safety Committee, so it was standing out to us that the machine was operating for months without any involvement of the committee. So from September to February, we attempted to work with the company and it didn't come to fruition. So the end result was us involved in the Ministry of Labor once we realized our internal responsibility system was not going to manage it. Now, we had a very fruitful meeting with the company and the Ministry of Labor yesterday. During the tour, we did have some serious concerns. Many workers aren't using their risk assessment training and leaving gates unlocked. And it appeared to us like there is a safety culture issue happening at the premium line. And we're hoping that by sharing this with everybody that we can help to quell some of the dangers that were apparent to us when we did our tour with the Ministry of Labor yesterday. So we're going to share the field visit report as well as the order that was issued. This has been signed by myself, and we do have it confirmed that the company is signing their portion as well. They have work to get re-instructions out, but we're going to inquire further to see if those are meaningful re-instructions. And these re-instructions are to the affected employees in the area that were found to have their locks off, as well as all other crews were hoping, just to reaffirm to everybody the importance of using the proper lockouts, lockout procedures, and your risk assessments, and understanding the risks associated with your job and the risks to people in your area by failing to lock these gates and everything. Because locking gates is a very serious thing. The safety gating and the safety devices that we have in place are so important that everybody uses them properly. And even if you have to unlock the same gate 100 times in a shift, you need to make sure you relock it 101 times. That is so important. And by not locking gates, you could put yourself in a precarious position and get yourself disciplined, possibly terminated for failure to follow safety procedures. So we'll share the screen here with the field visit report. And we'll go through it quickly. I'll read it line by line, and we'll go to the order that is issued, and we'll do a little bit of an outline about what we're going to do as a union to follow up on this. So as you can see on the field visit report, the visit date was March 1st, 2022. That was yesterday, and it was a follow-up visit. Persons contacted was Bob Nasika, HSE Senior Manager, John Secor, Health and Safety, Roberto Placios, he's an engineer, Gentry Orr, certified engineering technologist, and Hans DeFetter, our Joint Health and Safety co-chair, and myself attended as union president. I'm also a worker rep under the Health and Safety Act with the Ministry of Labor. And you can see the location was a premium thread line in finishing 1, and we attended the Health and Safety office. And the narrative is as follows. It says, this visit is a follow-up to a visit that occurred on February 22nd, 2022. During that meeting, a number of items were discussed concerning the premium thread line that had recently been installed in the workplace. A number of items were to be addressed by the employer. This visit is to follow up on those commitments. They are as follows. Arc flash hazard study is number 1. It says the employer still plans on completing an arc flash study for this line. The employer stated that this will occur in the coming months. In the interim, the employer has posted that workers are to use a higher level of PPE when conducting maintenance activities. These postings were viewed as part of the field visit. The employer said they will update the postings after the arc flash study is completed if required. Now, what they're saying is that they've posted in the MCCs for our electrical team that they have to wear the highest level of PPE when working on those devices that have to do with the premium line. Now, this is because the company hasn't done the arc flash study yet, which is required under the pre-start review. And what that does is it basically tells the worker what power is coming upstream and from the upstream to the downstream, so that they can ensure they don't overload their tools and fully understand which hazards exist as far as the electrical current running through the devices. The label was seen by our co-chair, Hans de Fetter, and it satisfied the Ministry of Labor. So we're going to keep on the company to ensure that the arc flash study is completed, and that once it is completed, that the labels are appropriate. It goes number 2 here, the labeling of interlocks. Now, the interlocks we're talking about are the interlocking doors around the premium area. And this is the newer style of safety devices that when you open them, they shut down the entire area or within the boundaries of what that interlock controls, so that you can safely work on the equipment or enter it as long as you follow the procedures to do so. Now it says labeling of interlocks. During the visit, the employer was able to demonstrate that they have installed signage at interlocks. They had committed to doing this during the last meeting. We can confirm that they did put up signage that says to ensure that you use your lock. Number 3, light curtains. Now, this is a very important one to us because what we found in the initial visit was that the company hasn't established or created a maintenance or a preventative maintenance plan to ensure that the light curtains are working. The commitment we had from them was that they would have that done by today. So we're going to follow up with the company on that as well, but we'll just go through what the Ministry of Labor listed here. It says light curtains. The employer committed at the previous meeting to referencing the manufacturer instructions concerning testing of light curtains. They have begun that process and are on track to complete this item. The employer is not behind on this item. At the request of the ministry, this return visit was earlier than scheduled. And what he's saying there is he came on a Tuesday when he was scheduled to come on a Wednesday, and they did have till Wednesday. So we're hoping that the company follows through on this part and meets their commitment to ensure that we have at least at minimum the manufacturer instructions concerning the testing put into our PM plan, so that we know that these light curtains work when people are using them. As it is currently, doesn't appear to be any testing to ensure that these things are working. So during the physical inspection, which was the tour we had yesterday, the Ministry of Labor continues to say that a number of concerns were identified. The employer uses a guard similar to a fence to exclude workers from hazardous areas. Access to the guarded areas is through doors with installed interlocks that require lockouts. Workers are also able to gain access to the hazard area through sliding gates located around the guarded area. These sliding gates have installed interlocks that are not currently hooked up. And what we found there was that a lot of the interlocks do not have the plugs in, so that the actual interlock that automatically disengages the area is not active. But the employer does have a plan in place for that. It goes, the employer uses a padlock system as a method to secure the gate. So what they're using is a general Q lock, which is locking the gate opposed to having the interlocks working. So the ministry continues to say, workers need to obtain a key to unlock the gate and disable the guard. During the inspection, it was noted that several of the locks were left unlocked. In one case, the guard was unlocked and the gate was left in the open position. The guard had been disabled and was not functioning as intended. And he puts in brackets that he issued an order on this circumstance. He continues to say, several other components were noted as unlocked during the visit. Those areas did not have workers present at the time of the visit. This included a pipe cutting machine area and a pipe thread treatment area. The employer will be looking at those areas in more detail. The employer has work instructions and policies concerning lockouts and accessing hazardous areas. The employer needs to make sure that workers are following those policies and procedures. Workers need to be instructed on not removing or overriding employer-installed guards without following the employer's procedures. A discussion occurred around production and maintenance workers' access to the excluded area. The employer has instructed available workers about the area each access door covers when locked out. Some concern was expressed about the availability of those instructions to workers and that they are not as clearly defined as they should be. The workers and employer discussed some opportunities for improvement. They will be exploring some of those ideas in the near future. They also discussed some concerns around the procedure used at one of the access doors and the sequence of the multiple lockouts that occur. They agreed to discuss the item in more detail. Investigation ongoing. A copy of this report must be posted in the workplace. Now, if we continue down to page 3, this is the field visit report with the order that the Ministry of Labor issued on the company. It says, the employer shall ensure that where a machine has an exposed moving part that may endanger the safety of a worker, the machine is guarded by a guard or other device that prevents access to the moving part. At the time of the visit, the guard established around the premium thread line and finishing was observed disabled in several locations. Now, obviously, as a union, we're very concerned with the findings of the Ministry of Labor yesterday, because what it shows is that we have a poor safety culture around the premium line. Now, this is not going to be considered a fault of any of the workers, because many of the workers in the area are new to Tenaris. We believe that this is a fault in our safety training program and a fault in our safety enforcement on the floor. But the enforcement of safety is enforced by all of us and not only the company. What we need to make sure is that when we're walking around our areas, that we're always looking and testing locks. The locks that the company provides us are for our own safety. A failure to use them is only failing to keep yourself and your fellow coworkers safe. This needs to stop. We can't express how important lockouts are. The one thing I can say is that this union has dealt with dozens of terminations of employees who do not lock out their area. All you're doing is setting yourself up to be terminated. There's not much the union can do when people just blatantly leave their locks undone. It is such a dangerous situation. What we ask of all of you is that you take this field visit and this order to heart. We need everybody on the shop floor to always be looking at everybody's locks, to be reviewing lockout boards to ensure that they're filled out appropriately. These are the only tools we have to ensure the safety of everybody when entering moving machinery. This is so important. What the union is doing tomorrow is we're going to be coming into the mill to speak to premium workers to see what kind of re-instructions were done after these findings with the Ministry of Labor. We're hopeful that the company took the time to sit everybody affected down that works on the premium line, take a moment to review the errors in the findings, and to discuss how we can improve. In order for the company to reach compliance on this order, they have to show that the affected workers have been re-instructed. Now, the union's going to ensure that that re-instruction was meaningful, and we want to avoid having any situation where employees were asked to sign their name on a re-instruction form while they were on the job. No one should be signing re-instruction forms with their hard hat on, earplugs in, and gloves on their hands. We should be taking a moment to sit down with the supervisor, fully understand why the re-instruction is being issued, understand what the finding was that led to the re-instruction, and have an opportunity to ask the company questions in the case you don't fully understand what is going on. With that, this field visit report and order will be posted in our health and safety boards throughout the facility for everybody's consumption. Everybody should be taking a moment each day to check those boards and see what safety updates are posted, just to stay up to speed with the safety program in our mill. And with that, everybody, if you ever have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us. Stay safe in solidarity.
Yeah, this one's for the workers who turn night